good guest coming up on China, and we do, and she happens to be here right now. She says that China's buying more commodities than any country in the history of the world, being more aggressive than anyone has ever been, and that could have some huge consequences for the rest of us. Dambisa Moyo is the author of the book Winner Takes All, China's Race for Resources, What It Means for the Rest of the World. She's here in studio. Great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on. But before we get to that, in the present day, China is slowing down, right? And it's a question of how quickly that's happening. So that might challenge the thesis of your book if it happens very quickly and China crashes or has a hard landing. What's happening right now in China?
Look, China's not going to crash. I think certainly by all data indicates that there is a slow landing or soft landing in the economy. But the worst case estimates that I've seen are around 7.5% GDP. I mean,
right,
which is not too bad.
Absolutely.
I think anything below 6, we should really be worried.
I think it's interesting because the people who think that China is going to fall off some sort of a cliff or it's going to be a real mess, hard landing, crash, whatever, they say, well, that data is just nonsense. They're making it up or they don't believe it. But you say it's fairly legitimate?
Well, look, I mean, I think the fundamental question is whether or not the government will step in if problems continue to persist. And I think the evidence is that they will. Last week, they intervened in the markets. For the first time, we had a rate cut, 25 basis points. That's something we haven't seen in a long time. And I think there is ample room to intervene with a stimulus package if need be.
So will they make significant changes in the strategy that you talk about in their book, which is basically, hey, we're going to go out and buy up all the resources that are available wherever they are, whether that's going to Africa and buying up natural resources there, with commodities here, there, everywhere else. Will that strategy change because of the economic changes?
I don't believe it will. I mean, I think that what we're seeing are tactical concerns in the market. We have seen a decline in commodity prices, and I think a lot of that is emblematic of people's concerns about softening growth.
Right.
But fundamentally, the story between demand and supply still exists.
So an American should look at that how? As if this is some sort of a game that's being played and China's winning and we're losing? Is it that simple or no?
China's approach is very different. It's multilateral. It's going to Brazil, Argentina, across Africa, across Eastern Europe, and negotiating symbiotic deals.
Does it hurt us?
Well, I think the United States traditionally has adopted a unilateral approach to securing resources. It has tended to go into wars, military incursions such as that is in Iraq. And I think that type of strategy has forced resource prices much higher than they would otherwise be.
Okay, so long term, it means what for prices on a very simplistic level? People
Much higher
prices for
Absolutely.
Americans.
Land, water, energy, minerals, higher. And I know people think that we are going to get a reprieve from supply and energy. I think that it might be overplayed.
Last thing, can we do something different to change that?
Absolutely. I think the United States needs to negotiate much more aggressively in a multilateral fashion with the rest of the world.
And especially China.
Especially China, yeah.
All right, good stuff. And we covered a lot of ground, I think, in a short amount of time. Dambisa, thank you very much. Dambisa Moyo with us today. Winner Takes All is the book. And